faithfully delivering value and interpreting great books from around the world. Hello, this is Sally's Book Talk. When it comes to the history of the late Ming Dynasty, there's one figure you absolutely can't skip. That person is Yuan Chonghuan. There are two big reasons for this. First, Yuan Chonghuan proposed building the Shanhai Pass, Ningyuan and Jinzhou defense line, giving the crumbling Ming Dynasty a much-needed boost and delaying its collapse. The key, second, he used cannon defense tactics, introducing Western cannons into actual combat and revolutionizing East Asia's city defense systems in the 17th century. But the end for such an important figure can only be described as utterly tragic. That was in the second year of Chongzhen's reign, or 1629 AD. At the end of that year, Hong Taiji of the Later Jin regime led the Eight Banners Army around Mongolia, bypassing the Ming's Liaoshi defense line, and broke through the Great Wall at Da'an Pass and Longqingguan. The Later Jin army suddenly appeared near Beijing. Yuan Chonghuan, far away at the Liaxi front, heard the news and quickly organized a rescue. He himself rushed back to the capital and fought a major battle against the Later Jin army at the city gates. After 10 days of fierce fighting, the Later Jin army temporarily retreated, and the capital was briefly relieved. But right at this critical moment, the situation took a sharp turn for the worse. The Chongzhen emperor ordered Yuan Chonghuan's arrest, and the reasons sounded bizarre, claiming this unprecedented crisis was all Yuan Chonghuan's fault. He orchestrated the conspiracy by luring the Later Jin army to bypass his own defenses and attack Beijing, according to the Chongzhen emperor. Why did he think that? In his view, Yuan Chonghuan had been hoarding troops outside Shanhai Pass for years, wasting military funds, not only failing to reclaim lost land, but also pushing for peace talks with the Later Jin regime. With the court in dire straits, if they signed a treaty with Hong Taiji to end hostilities, all of Yuan Chonghuan's past failures would go unpunished. After Yuan Chonghuan was arrested, his subordinates panicked and prepared to withdraw from the battlefield back outside Shanhai Pass, while the Later Jin army attacked near Beijing again. And Mongo was quiet and great ease. Open fines. For this reason, Yuan Chonghuan had to send a letter from prison, urging his men to prioritize national affairs and follow orders, which finally drove back the Later Jin army. But even this act couldn't clear Yuan Chonghuan of suspicion. 6 months later, grim and tragic, convicted the finality of horror. After a marathon trial, the court convicted Yuan Chonghuan of heinous crimes, treason, and collusion with the enemy. He was taken to Beijing's Ganqi Bridge for Linqi execution, and his family was exiled. It's said that on the execution day, the common folks in the capital hated Yuan Chonghuan to the core, scrambling to buy his flesh from the executioner while cursing nonstop. So the question is, if Yuan Chonghuan truly deserved his fate, why did he rush back to the capital to rescue it desperately? Why, after being arrested and knowing his chances were slim, did he still send a letter from prison, urging his subordinates to obey the court's orders? Also, what exactly was this hoarding troops for self-gain and negotiating peace with Later Jin that the Chongzhen emperor talked about? I believe after hearing about this Yuan Chonghuan biography I'm sharing today, you can find some clues from it. The author of this Yuan Chonghuan biography is Yan Chongyan, a contemporary Chinese expert on Ming-Qing history. When he published it over a decade ago, it sparked widespread social debate. Last photo, there are many reasons for this, but the most fundamental one is that Yuan Chonghuan himself was full of controversy. Even during his lifetime, Yuan Chonghuan's actions and behavior were highly controversial. While resisting the Later Jin regime outside Shanhai Pass, he did many unconventional things, like negotiating peace with Hong Taiji and killing military commander Ma Wenlong, which caused mixed reactions in the court. After his death, Records and evaluations of him became tangled due to different political biases, not easy to untangle. Controversial historical figures are often more intriguing and captivating. Um, Regarding the controversies about Yuan Chonghuan, online debates are plentiful, but published works are scarce. Yuan Chonghuan's biography is serious in prose and skilled in historical verification, truly rare. What I've distilled from this book is a framework of Yuan Chonghuan's 46-year life. Interested folks can follow the clues to seek their own satisfying answers. Yuan Chonghuan's life is mainly split into two stages, with his entry into military service as the divider. The first stage is 38 years of quiet life, relatively simple, while the second is 8 years of leading troops in battle. During this time, his life intertwined with history, and he achieved many big deeds, so there's more to cover. Also, I need to state that, in this explanation, for consistency and ease of understanding, I'll use actual age in years, wherever age is mentioned. And wherever months are involved, I'll use the lunar calendar months. Okay, let's first look at the initial stage, meaning Yuan Chonghuan's life before leading troops. Yuan Chonghuan was born in the 12th year of Wan Li, or 1584 AD. His ancestors had lived for generations in Shunan village, Dongguan, Guangdong, a place called Yuanjiping. Yuanjiping is located midway between today's Guangzhou and Shenzhen, about 60 to 70 kilometers from each. Yuan Chonghuan's grandfather, Yuan Shishang, and Wenwan's grandfather, Yuan Shishang, sailed from Dongguan to today's 10 County, Wuzhou, Guangxi, to trade timber and medicinal herbs, eventually opening a shop and settling there. Yuan Chonghuan's father, Yuan Zepeng, followed in his father's footsteps and eventually settled in 10 County. Yuan Chonghuan's early life was no different from that of a typical scholar. In the 25th year of Wan Li, at age 13, Yuan Chonghuan passed the imperial examination to become a shujai. 9 years later, he passed the provincial examination in Guanxi and became a juren. Back then, juren quotas were very limited, and many spent their whole lives trying without success. Yuan Chonghuan achieving it at 22 was exceptionally outstanding. However, his luck in exams after that wasn't so great. After becoming a juren, he took the Jinshi exam 4 times in a row but failed each time. Finally, in the 47th year of Wan Li, 1619 AD, at 35, he passed on his 5th attempt, ranking 41st in the 3rd tier of Jinshi, etching his name on the Confucius Temple stele. That same year, a major event altering history's course occurred in Ming's northeast, the famous Battle of Sarhu. In 1616, Nurhaci, leader of the Jurchen tribes, established the Later Jin regime and began challenging the Ming Dynasty. In 1619, Ming sent troops to Liaodong, joined by Korean reinforcements and the unsubjugated Yehe Jurchens, claiming 200,000 soldiers, advancing in 4 routes against Nurhaci. The court allocated 3 million taels of silver for this campaign. The goal was a swift victory within 10 days, striking straight at Later Jin's capital, Hetu Ala, to pacify Liaodong. Yet the outcome completely defied all expectations. In just 5 days, 3 armies were annihilated, while the 4th retreated. Its commander committed suicide. Ming permanently lost control over Liaodong.
The next year, Wan Li's 48th year, the emperor died, plunging the court into chaotic power struggles. Nurhaci seized this opportunity to capture Liaodong's political military center.
When Nurhaci moved his capital from Hetu Ala to Liaoyang, the military report shocked the entire Beijing court. From then on, the Liaodong situation became a widely discussed social topic referred to as Liaoshi by contemporaries. Although Yuan Chonghuan closely followed Liaoshi, the military turmoil hadn't yet directly involved him personally. That same year, Nurhaci relocated his capital. The 36-year-old Yuan was assigned as magistrate of Shaowu County in Fujian. 2 years later, Yuan went to the capital for evaluation. This trip marked his entry into Liaoxi affairs. Yuan's journey from Fujian to Beijing occurred in Tianqi's second year. That year's first month saw northeast tensions escalate dangerously. Nurhaci crossed the Liao River, capturing Guanningjin-Ming's strategic stronghold in Liaoxi. Ming's defeated troops and Liaoxi refugees, nearly 100,000 strong, were treated chaotically toward Shanhai Pass.
Shanhai Pass now became the front line.
Given years of defeats and lost territories, the capital, just 670 li from Shanhai Pass, faced imminent danger. With crisis mounting, the court declared capital martial law, while urgently planning defenses. Court officials knew defending against Later Jin was treacherous. Many avoided involvement. Amid this, Censor Hao Xun petitioned. Shawu Magistrate Yuan Chonghuan shows exceptional vision. Promote him exceptionally. Hao's endorsement likely stemmed from Yuan voicing defense strategies and volunteering during his capital stay. Soon, Yuan's proactive stance got rewarded. The court promoted him to War Ministry Secretary. Per Ming Shi's Yuan Chonghuan biography, shortly after appointment, he rode alone beyond the pass to survey Shanhai defenses. After this reconnaissance brimming with confidence, Yuan boasted, "Give me enough troops and supplies, I alone can repel Later Jin." Soon after, Yuan was reassigned as Shanhai Pass military supervisor, with treasury funds for organization. The emperor even contributed 200,000 taels from his privy purse for troop recruitment. Thus, Yuan Chonghuan ascended history's stage. All right, that covers Yuan's early life. Ordinary origins, Jinshi 30s county magistrate. Without turbulent times, he'd likely have risen quietly through seniority, ending an uneventful career. But in Tianji II, during capital evaluation, crisis thrust him to defend Shanhai Pass, becoming history's pivotal figure. Next comes the second phase of Yuan Chonghuan's life. This was an 8-year period of military service. I'll divide it into 4 parts to introduce Yuan's key historical involvements. Constructing the Guanningjin defense line, negotiating peace with Hong Taiji, executing border general Mao Wenlong, and finally handling the GC incident. First, let's examine part 1, constructing the Guanningjin defense line. The 3 characters Guang, Ning, and Jin refer to 3 locations: Shanhai Pass, Ningyuan, and Jinzhou. Today, Xincheng City under Huludao, Liaoning, lies midway between Shanhai Pass and Jinzhou. During the Xuande era, Ming established a military base in Mingzhan to defend against Mongol forces. By Yuan Chonghuan's time, it became crucial for defending against Later Jin. Thus, the Guanningjin line connected the southern Guanning defenses with northern Ningjin defenses. Its construction naturally divided into 2 steps. First, strengthening Shanhai Pass defenses. After Yuan became Shanhai Pass military supervisor, the court appointed Wang Zijin as war minister, granting him the Shangfang sword to oversee Bohai Sea defenses. Thus, Yuan became Wang Zijin's subordinate. Soon Wang assigned him to resettle refugees beyond Shanhai Pass.
The area beyond the pass was devastated, sparsely populated, and prowled by tigers. Yuan braved these dangers, traveling overnight upon receiving orders.
Soldiers marveled at his bravery. Wang valued his diligence and held him in high esteem. Yet they clashed on the fundamental question of defending Shanhai Pass.
As Liadong's supreme commander, Wang's strategy was abandoning West Liao River, focusing defenses near Shanhai Pass for passive protection.
He believed defending Liaoxi became impossible after Guanming's fall. Ming outposts only reached Bilipu, 8 li beyond Shanhai Pass, so Long proposed building a new fortress there. From this fortress, build a 30 li wall toward the bay to block Shanhai access, garrisoned by 40,000 troops. This pass beyond pass, wall beyond wall, would shield the capital. But Yuan disagreed. Defending Shanhai Pass required holding Liaoxi. For the Liaoxi corridor, he proposed fortifying Ningyan 200 li beyond Shanhai Pass, defending the pass while enabling counterattacks into Later Jin territory. Yuan Chonghuan's proactive defense strategy naturally didn't gain Wang Zijin's approval. So he found a way to present his plan to the imperial cabinet, but even they couldn't decide after reviewing his proposal.
Then, Grand Secretary Sun Changzong volunteered to conduct an on-site survey beyond the pass to assess Ningyuan's fortification feasibility.
After investigation, Sun identified two problems. First, officers retreating to Shanhai Pass were completely combat ineffective.
These officers believed Shanhai Pass was impregnable, so they spent days amusing themselves without urgency despite imminent threat. Second, defenses behind Shanhai Pass were weak. Jizo garrison troops within the pass were understaffed and underpaid. Thus, this line couldn't defend Shanhai Pass either, vulnerable to pincer attacks and easily captured. Therefore, Sun planned to deploy heavy forces in Liaozi to tie down Later Jin's military strength. So, building on Yuan's concept, he advocated establishing a Guanning defense line. The specific plan: fortify Ningyuan as forward outpost while restoring fortresses along the 200 li stretch to Shanhai Pass, garrisoning troops for layered defense. The court endorsed Sun's proposal and quickly implemented personnel changes. Late in Tianji's second year, Sun replaced Wang to lead the defense line construction, perhaps with divine assistance. After Sun took office, Nurhaci's extreme ethnic policies in Liaodong sparked Han Chinese resistance. In 5 days, 3 of 4 armies were annihilated while the 4th retreated. Its commander committed suicide. Ming permanently lost Liaodong initiative, and the next year, Wanli's 48th, the emperor, died, plunging the court into chaotic power struggles. Nurhaci seized this opportunity to capture Liaodong's political military center.
When Nurhaci moved his capital from Hetuala to Liaoyang, the military report shocked the entire Beijing court.
From then on, Liaodong affairs became widespread public concern, termed Liaoshi by contemporaries. Though Yuan closely followed Liaoshi, the military turmoil hadn't yet directly involved him personally. That same year, Nurhaci relocated his capital. 36-year-old Yuan was assigned as magistrate of Shaowu County, Fujian. 2 years later, Yuan's capital evaluation trip marked his entry into Liaoshi affairs. Yuan Chonghuan's journey from Fujian to Beijing occurred in Tianqi's second year. That year's first month saw northeast tensions escalate dangerously. Nurhaci crossed the Liao River, capturing Guanningjin-Ming's strategic stronghold in Liaoshi.
Ming's defeated troops and Liaoshi refugees, nearly 100,000 strong, retreated chaotically toward Shanhai Pass.
Shanhai Pass now became the front line. Given years of defeats and lost territories, the capital, just 670 li from Shanhai Pass, faced imminent danger. With crisis mounting, the court declared capital martial law while urgently planning defenses. Court officials knew defending against Later Jin was treacherous. Many avoided involvement. Amid this, censor Hao Shun petitioned. Shaowu magistrate Yuan Chonghuan shows exceptional vision. Promote him exceptionally. Hao's endorsement, connecting actions. Hao's endorsement likely stemmed from Yuan voicing defense strategies and volunteering during his capital stay. Soon, Yuan's proactive stance got rewarded. The court promoted him to War Ministry Secretary. Per Ming Shi's Yuan Chonghuan biography, shortly after appointment, he rode alone beyond the pass to survey Shanhai defenses. After this reconnaissance, brimming with confidence, Yuan made a bold declaration. He boasted, "Give me enough troops and supplies, I alone can repel Later Jin." Soon after, Yuan was reassigned as Shanhai Pass military supervisor, with treasury funds for organization. The emperor even contributed 200,000 taels from his privy purse for troop recruitment. Thus, Yuan Chonghuan ascended history's stage. All right, that covers Yuan's early life. Ordinary origins, Jinshi in 30s, county magistrate. Without turbulent times, he'd likely have risen quietly through seniority, ending an uneventful career. But in Tianji too, during capital evaluation, crisis thrust him to defend Shanhai Pass, becoming history's pivotal figure. Next comes the second phase of Yuan Chonghuan's life. This was an 8-year period of military service. I'll divide it into 4 parts. Constructing Guanningjin defenses. negotiating with Huan Taji, executing Ma Wenlong, and handling the GC incident. First, let's examine constructing the Guanningjin defense line. The three characters Guan, Ning, and Jin refer to Shanhai Pass, Ningyuan and Jinzhou. Today, Xingcheng City under Huludao, Liaoning, is located midway between Shanhai Pass and Jinzhou. During the Xuande era, the Ming Dynasty established a military base in Ningyuan to defend against Mongol forces. By Yuan Chonghuan's time, it became a crucial stronghold for defending against Later Jin. Thus, the Guanningjin defense line connected the southern Guanning defenses with the northern Ningjin defenses. Its construction naturally divided into two steps. First, strengthening Shanhai Pass defenses. After Yuan became Shanhai Pass military supervisor, the court appointed Wang Zijin as war minister, granting him the Shangfeng sword to oversee Bohai Sea defenses. Thus Yuan became Wang Zijin's subordinate. Soon Wang assigned him to resettle refugees beyond Shanhai Pass. The area beyond the pass was devastated, sparsely populated and prowled by tigers. Yuan braved these dangers, traveling overnight upon receiving orders. Soldiers marveled at his bravery. Yuan valued his diligence and held him in high esteem.
Yet they clashed on the fundamental question of defending Shanhai Pass.
As Liao Dong's supreme commander, Long's strategy was abandoning West Liao River, focusing defenses near Shanhai Pass for passive protection. He believed defending Liaoxi became impossible after Guanning's fall. Ming outposts only reached Falapu 8 li beyond Shanhai Pass, so Wang proposed building a new fortress there. So, from this fortress, build a 30 li wall toward the bay to block Shanhai access, garrisoned by 40,000 troops. This pass beyond pass, wall beyond wall, would shield the capital. But Yuan disagreed. Defending Shanhai Pass required holding Liaoxi. For the Liaoxi corridor, he proposed fortifying Ningyuan 200 li beyond Shanhai Pass, defending the pass while enabling counterattacks into Later Jin territory. Yuan Chonghuan's proactive defense strategy naturally didn't gain Wang Zijin's approval. So he found a way to present his plan to the imperial cabinet, but even they couldn't decide after reviewing his proposal. Then Grand Secretary Sun Chengzan volunteered to conduct an on-site survey beyond the pass to assess Ningyuan's fortification feasibility. Seeing unfavorable factors multiplying around him, Yuan Chonghuan simply submitted his resignation citing illness and retired home. But just 50 days after his departure, the political landscape suddenly shifted. In the 8th month of Tianqi's 7th year, the emperor fell into water, became ill, and suddenly died after taking alchemical elixirs. His younger brother, 17-year-old prince of Shinju Yujian, ascended the throne, becoming the Chongzhen emperor, Ming's last ruler. Within 3 months of enthronement, Chongzhen executed Wei Zhongshan, punished his eunuch faction, and reinstated officials purged by Wei, including Yuan Chonghuan. The first year of Chongzhen, or 1628 AD, that spring, Yuan became Minister of War and Supreme Commander of Jiliao Donglai Tianjin military affairs, controlling Bohai Sea defenses. Emperor Chongzhen personally received Yuan Chonghuan outside the Yuntai Gate of the Hall of Preserving Harmony in the Forbidden City. Yuan pledged to recover Liadong within 5 years. Yet from Tianji II to Chongzhen I, Yuan had already been involved in defenses for 6 years. Court intrigues proved harder to handle than Later Jin's armies. So Yuan requested the emperor's absolute trust and autonomy to act without interference. Chongzhen readily agreed, granting him discretionary authority. Yuan then traveled beyond the pass and undertook his second major military act, negotiating peace with Later Jin, a shocking move that later became evidence for his treason trial. Why would a general sworn to destroy Later Jin within 5 years secretly negotiate peace with the enemy? What exactly transpired? In Chongzhen's first year, Yuan became supreme commander of Jiliao. Here Ji meant the Jizhou garrison inside Shanhai Pass, defending Beijing's northern approaches. Liao referred to Liao Dan. Stationed in Ningyuan, the commander advanced into Later Jin territory while coordinating Beijing's defense, an enormous responsibility. Before Yuan even left Shanhai Pass for his new post, a grave problem emerged. Ming's treasury was strained. Annual revenues barely reached 2 to 3 million taels, while Liaodong's military expenses peaked at 6 million, already unsustainable. And the troops beyond the pass hadn't received pay for months, finally triggering a mutiny in Ningyuan. Before Yuan's arrival, Liang Governor Bi Zisu had petitioned for funds, but Chongzhen's approval didn't guarantee action. The Ministry of Revenue's reports led to bureaucratic deadlock over military affairs. I am far from life. In July of Chongzhen's first year, Min Yuan's situation was critical. Local troops stationed there hadn't been paid for over 3 months, and rotating garrison forces, from March to July, over 100,000 taels of border pay remained unpaid. Soldiers around Ningyuan were seething with anger. Anonymous protest posters appeared in military camps demanding officials explain. Rebellion was imminent. On July 25, 1628, troops transferred from Sichuan and Huguan mutinied first, quickly spreading through all camps. Mutineers stormed the Liaodong governor's office, dragging Governor Bi Zisu and General Zhu Mei onto the city tower, beating them severely. Bai Zisu suffered the worst injuries, his face covered in blood. Deputy Defense Commissioner Gua Guang negotiated, promising prompt payment. Guo scraped together 20,000 taels. Too little for soldiers. He borrowed 30,000 more from merchants, distributing 50,000 total, temporarily calming the mutiny. Guo rescued the governor, Bai Zisu, overwhelmed by shame and helplessness, after rescue, submitted his resignation and committed suicide before official dismissal. The Ming Yuan mutiny was critically serious. Once news reached inside the pass, Yuan Chonghuan rushed to quell it. Traveling day and night, he used his authority to enter camps, lectured soldiers, punished ringleaders, rewarded loyal officers, restoring order through balanced discipline. The court scraped together funds to appease soldiers and scapegoated paymaster officials by dismissing them. And thus the Ningyuan mutiny crisis was resolved by early August. Though quelled, supplies remained scarce and pay unreliable. By year's end, Jinzou's soldiers also mutinied. Chongzhen paid from his privy purse to suppress it. The emperor grew dissatisfied with Yuan. Before enemies arrive, we fight our own troops. Whenever soldiers riot, the emperor pays? If this becomes routine, how can it stand? Failing to solve military pay, Emperor Chongzhen targeted the army itself. To cut costs, he reduced troops nationwide. Guanningjin defense funding dropped from 6 million to 4.8 million taels annually. As the saying goes, troops move only after provisions advance. With Emperor Chongzhen's actions, Yuan Chonghuan couldn't immediately launch war against Later Jin. He needed time to consolidate his rear, so he resorted to feigning peace talks with Later Jin to buy time. Actually, this wasn't Yuan's first time doing this. 2 years earlier, after the Battle of Ningyuan, he'd used similar tactics. During that battle, soldiers witnessed fortress cannons wounding a key Later Jin figure. Whether Later Jin's retreat after 3 days was related remained unknown at the time, so Yuan cautiously reported the victory without confirming the person's identity. Later, Ming learned Nurhaci was indeed wounded during attacks on Ningyuan. 7 months post-battle, rumors spread of Nurhaci's death, with Huan Taiji succeeding him in Later Jin. Min troops were recuperating, while fortresses were urgently repaired along the front. Yuan suspected Nurhaci's death might be a ruse to lull Ming into lowering guard for a surprise attack. After consulting frontline officials, Yuan decided to act at their discretion, sending envoys under guise of mourning Nurhaci and congratulating the new Khan to gather military intelligence in Shenyang. Huang Taiji had just ascended not yet consolidated power with fierce brotherly rivalry, so Huang Taiji also wanted temporary peace with Ming to focus on internal conflicts Both sides saw truce as crucial preparation, striking immediate agreement. So how did negotiations unfold? What clashes would erupt between Yuan Chonghuan and Huang Taji? This will unfold in the next episode. Well, that concludes the first half of Yuan Chonghuan's biography. Thanks for listening. See you tomorrow.